Let's talk a little bit about the science and the power of your thoughts. Think negatively for years and you weaken your brain. Prolonged negativity hampers your ability to think, to form memories, and to reason. Negative thinking changes brain structure so you're mentally less capable. This was reported by researchers at the Institute of Psychiatry, Psychology, and Neuroscience at King's College in London. They also found that repetitive negative thinking, which is also called RNT, a common symptom of many psychological disorders, may increase the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. RNT, or repetitive negative thinking, is a cognitive process that encloses worry about the future and rumination. Rumination is a deep thought about the past. Now, it's usually in a more negative context. In addition, there is a tendency to interpret information or situations in a negative way. The Health.com website has released research that proves negative thinking boosts stress levels. Stress is responsible for at least 75% of all visits to a doctor or the emergency room. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about when we're under stress, our body goes into survival mode. Okay? Now think of the survival mode. For example, in nature, if an animal is under attack, the brain and body go into survival mode. Okay? In this emergency mode, the body's energy is converting to a chemistry of cortisol and adrenaline. So it pays less attention to areas that are not urgent, and our brain narrows its focus. It is in full alertness and awareness to be able to foresee all of the dangers that may occur and come our way. The body and mind go into flight or fight mode, which makes sense in times when we're in danger and our life is threatened. Now, interesting fact, humans can go into that state by thought alone. We don't need a lion to be chasing us, right? The problem is that we don't go back to the norm after 15 minutes. When this happens to a deer in nature, lion chases it, goes into survival mode, lion's out of the picture, the deer starts to graze and moves on with its day, continues back to the norm. Some of us, well, let's say many of us, live in that state over long periods of time, and it has its effect on our body and our mind. Stress is present in most major diseases like cancer, autoimmune disease, cognitive decline, heart disease, and other leading causes of death worldwide. Psychology Today reported in 2014 that harping on negative life events can be the prime predictor of some of today's most common mental health problems. They went on to show research that indicate it isn't what happens to you that shapes your life. Instead, it's how you think about what happens that affects your well-being. So if you fall down and hurt yourself and decide to relive that situation again and again by retelling it to the people you see that ask you about your day, that is how you're seeing or translating your whole morning. That is where you're putting your point of focus. On the other hand, if you had that same fall and that same pain, brushed it off and decided not to think of that moment, you decide not to let that moment be the definition of your morning. You may be reminded a few times, of course, when your leg brushes against something or on the following day with that black and blue mark, but it will not be that thing that created or defined your reality for the day. For example, going back to our morning drive to work scenario, the driver who cuts us on the road could be the trigger that you believe sends your day spiraling downhill, or it could be a trigger that alerts you to slow down, observe your surroundings so you can reassess your morning and make the day better than it started. I used to have bags of blessings for those drivers, ones that with the coming of parenthood needed to disappear. Trust me. I'm Israeli. It's like in New York. We can predict the light about to change seconds before, And the impatient vibe begins before the driver in front has a chance to even react to the light. I'm kidding. Not all of us are like that, of course. Today, after repetitive reminding, I look at it a bit differently. When I'm stressed because I'm late and a car cuts me off, or I get stuck behind drivers that are not willing to increase the speed limit, I take a deep breath or 2 or 3 or 4, and I remind myself that I'll get there when I get there. I can't change that. I don't have much I can do. And besides, if I drive like I'm late to save a life in the ER, I'm going to encounter more dangers. My heart rate's going to go up. I become stressed, and I'm definitely not modeling what I want to my children or to my environment. I will not be doing myself any good. I today believe that this person is a reminder for me not to give into the stress of being late. Take a deep breath, because it can change your day. Trust me. In other words, your decision to see the negative or positive in any situation is what affects your life. Think negative and you raise your risk of creating a life that attracts more negative vibrations in many ways. So the main point of awareness and the question to think about is, if your thoughts can lead to disease and make you ill physically or mentally, can your thoughts also make you well? Your brain can shape your reality. Feed it positive thoughts and ideas, and that's what you'll see in your life.